go live over on Instagram, perhaps. Hello.
Yay.
Good morning. Good afternoon, good evening, good night. Wherever you are, thanks for joining us again for another live Q&A session here on my channel. If you're new here, welcome. My name is Angela. I'm a full-time voiceover artist and audiobook narrator. My channel's dedicated to those of you. I can hear myself somewhere. Good God. Okay, YouTube. Anywho, still trying to get everything together, so bear with me. But because he was very popular here on the channel, I'm just going to skip right to it. We have Caesar back with us.
Hello.
And hello, Caesar. Caesar's going to talk with us today about some basic home studio setup for voiceover and audiobook narration. So we're happy to have you back, Caesar.
Thank you for having me.
Of course. So everybody has been hoping that you're feeling better because you were pretty sick for a minute.
Oh, yeah. What happened was I took care of a friend who had flu, which turned into pneumonia. And the parting gift she gave me was the same bloody thing. So I think beginning of January. Here's a funny thing, right? The last time I appeared as a guest on your YouTube Live, I got a lot of inquiries, and I signed a lot of deals, and then it's like, I'm gonna jump into 2026 with my with both feet, just hit the ground running. And I started that awful flu cycle, the fevers, and then the congestion, and eventually the flu became pneumonia, and I had fluid in my lungs, and I had to sleep sitting up for a while. It was just awful, but I'm starting to feel a lot better. I'm about 98%. The only thing is, like, if I see a pencil on the ground, if I bend over to pick it up, that's when I start coughing. But other than that, I'm fine.
Well, good. I'm glad to hear that you're on the mend.
Yes.
Anyway.
Mm-hmm.
But let's get to, I'm sure we're going to have a lot of questions as we go. But before we get to those, today's poll, as we always do every week, we have a poll, and that sort of gives Caesar and I a gauge as to what you guys want to know more about, because as always, these live streams and everything I do on my channel is for you. Mm-hmm. So, and with Caesar's help, we're going to try to address some of your concerns about setting up your home studio for voiceover or audiobook narration. So please put your votes in, or get your votes in the poll, so we know what to focus on today. Today's poll is, of course, which aspect of setting up your home studio do you get stuck on? 7% of you said microphone. 11 said interface. 61, wow, wide margin, said wall and room treatment. And then 21% of you said other. If you did say other, please post in the chat what you're stuck on so we can help you address it and move past it and get out there and start narrating audiobooks or doing voiceover. We were talking before we went live, Caesar, about just to touch on the wall and room treatment. Mm-hmm. What do you think, in your experience, and then we can talk about this a little bit based on my experience too, working with new voice actors, audiobook narrators. What is the one thing that is generally overlooked the most, you think, in treating a room space or a studio?
I don't know about overlooked, but a lot of people feel like, they're working on a budget, right? Yeah, well, yeah. A lot of times they spend the most amount of money on the microphone and the audio interface, and maybe Mogami gold cables. They want to go big or go home. So I happen to know somebody who actually bought a TLM 103, spent like, I don't know, $1,300 to $1,700 for that. And like an Apollo Twin X, and that's like a $1,000 to $1,500 audio interface, because that's what the pros use, right? And they get an super expensive audio cable that's designed for professional studios that plug and unplug microphones day in and day out. They're designed for a lot of stress. They're very almost rigid cables, in fact. And then they stick it in a closet, and they figure like the clothes will do because they're soft, and you know, all of a sudden they're met with things like standing waves, a lot of reverb, a lot of echo, because what they don't realize is that the higher end your gear is, the more sensitive they are. All right, the more truthful they are in terms of, I guess, what's the word? Uh, Replicating your voice, and well, they catch everything, not just your voice. They capture the room as well. And with when you're a beginner, you often have improper mic technique, right? You face the capsule, you get really sibilant. Maybe you position your mic weird, so it catches reflections either off from the ceiling, or from your desk, or from the ground. A lot of that. So, if anything, I think most people tend to not realize that treatment, and like proper treatment, is important. That's number one. Number two, noise control is also important, but a little less so. If you consider the usual home studio setup, we usually use a closet, or we find the quietest place in the house that's far away from things like road noise and stuff like that. But because our rooms are not decoupled from the rest of the house, there is a little bit of rumble. If a car passes by, it'll the microphone will pick up those subtle vibrations. Um, but let's start with treatment first, okay? So, um, I have a lot of experience in building my home studio because I started with zero treatment, all the way to, I think, using one of those silly little reflection shields, and then moving up to, what do you call that? Moving blankets, and then all the way up to full rock wool treatment. So I know uh, from each stage what these things can absorb and what they can't, and how to fix that in the DAW. So let's say, for example, you're one of those people who bought like an expensive microphone and an expensive audio interface. Or maybe your budget just allows, let's say, $200 for the microphone, $200 for the interface, and then that's it. Maybe you've got $100. Uh, Start with foam panels. They won't do much, but it's better than nothing, right? They come in packs of like, I don't know, 50 in Amazon. I don't know. Well,
Something like
people
that.
pick that up, yeah. They're 2 inches, they're very thin, but they mostly absorb things like high frequencies. Okay. But they're shaped in a certain way that also allows, if something is not flat, right, then it's going to diffuse sound better, and it's going to it's going to scatter sound, and it'll help with things not bouncing back into your microphone. But if your budget is zero, then what can you do? You can use clothes racks with clothes. They're uneven, they're diffuse, they're not very dense. I mean, they're clothing, so but they can scatter sound fairly well. Further up, if you have quilts, if you have couch cushions that you can somehow prop around your room, anything that's soft and fairly thick will also do. And if you're going to set yourself up in a space that's fairly quiet, try not to make it a pine box, for Christ's sake. I mean, don't put yourself in a 3x3 closet, for example. Make sure it's at least 4x6. Um, I recently worked with somebody who had a fairly long closet, and it allowed for low frequency sounds to travel and dissipate instead of bouncing against the surface and coming back to the microphone. So a long rectangular space would be most ideal. And she put herself on the far end, and it gave enough room for waveforms to flow back and kind of scatter. Okay, so the things that I've mentioned so far that aren't rock wool can only absorb, let's say, from the mid-range of your voice to the treble region of your voice. So that leaves the bass. Now, the bass part of your voice cannot be absorbed by things like clothes or duvets or cushions. They absolutely need rock wool. All right, so that's your top of the line. That's your end game goal. If you ever want to go like full professional setup or treatment, then rock wool is your go-to. But if you can't afford rock wool, they can be very expensive when branded, and not everybody has access to the kind of tools required to DIY a panel, for example. So what you do is learn how to identify the frequencies that are resonating uh, in your DAW. And then that's where you learn how to use things like EQ to remove the things that treatment can't absorb. And that's usually the case for most people. All right. You take care of the worst of the reverb in your room, and the rest has to be done, has to be processed by a sound engineer. So you either learn it yourself or you hire somebody who can do it for you. Recently, I'll be meeting with him later. I have a client who set up a blanket fort in his basement, and it works. There's no weird echo or anything, but there is a lot of low end buildup, and this is especially prevalent for male voices. Men have to have more treatment than women because women have a higher vocal register, so the fundamental is slightly higher than a man's. So yeah, that's pretty much it.
And when you're talking about, you say that rock wool is the most ideal for room treatment, but one thing that I find myself reminding people to also not overlook are your ceilings, your floors, and the door.
Absolutely. Yes. For many reasons, actually. So the ceiling and the floor, get either a high pile rug or if you have like moving blankets, put them on the ground, right? The ceiling, you can use command strips and glue those square panels on the ceiling. And that's great because it prevents something called flutter echo. I think we actually talked about that earlier, right?
Yeah, you and I did, but not online.
Yeah. It was in the green room. So what happens is that when you talk, sometimes the sound will bounce from the ceiling down to your desk and back to the ceiling and down to your desk again. Yeah, that's pretty much it. The door, the door can have panels as well, or you can even place like a shower curtain rod and place moving blankets on it, so it acts as a kind of a makeshift curtain, and that covers up the door. That's what I have for my studio, actually. And the door itself, although this is less about room treatment and more of noise control, if the door is hollow, it will transmit sound from the hallway or from other rooms. So if you can replace it with a solid core door, or if you can thicken up the door using mass-loaded vinyl, or maybe install a door sweep, or increase the the pressure of the door against the frame by using weather stripping, that will mitigate some of the sound transmission from other rooms.
I also wanted to add, you mentioned using command strips with the squares of foam.
Yeah.
In my personal experience setting up this room, my first iteration of my booth, I did that with
They fell off, didn't they?
they did. So and I hear a lot of people have the same issue, or they're renting and they don't want to use adhesive all over the
Yeah.
wall. So what I ended up doing was going to my local hobby store and
Hmm.
getting like a big poster board,
Oh,
adhering
right.
those
That works.
squares to poster board, and then
Hmm.
thumbtacking the poster board to the wall or to the ceiling or to
That works
wherever.
too. Yeah.
That way, all you have to do really is get some spackle before you move out and just kind of
Yep.
fill the holes, and
Full
then
hole.
hey, yeah, you're done. You don't have to worry about scraping,
Yeah.
anything off later on. So just word to the wise, if you're in that position, that also works.
Okay. Yeah,
Um,
that's actually pretty smart. Yeah.
okay. Anything else on room treatment?
Let's see. I don't know if anybody has what do you call that? Specific questions about room treatment, but let's say
I do see one from Kat
uh,
that just came in. Are the rock wool panels rigid enough that you can put them in a frame and be good? Or are they only inside sheet rock wall? For inside
rocket
sheet
panels.
rock walls.
Yeah, actually, yes, they're rigid enough to be put in a frame, and in fact, if you prefer it, you can even put them in a wooden frame that has wheels, so you can move them around.
Oh.
Yeah. Then they're called gobos, actually, go-betweens. Studios use them to separate, let's say, if you're in a live room, separate the drummers from the guitarists and the other performers.
Or a noisy computer.
That is also, yes, another thing.
Wow.
If you
Okay.
can place a panel between your recording area and, let's say, if you have a computer, like a tower computer,
Mm-hmm.
that will absorb a lot of that sound.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Dylan said acoustic panel cloud hanging from the ceiling and everywhere else is covered in foam. It's beautiful and I would never go back. So you touched on the ceiling cloud. Can you explain exactly what that is?
An actual acoustic ceiling cloud is a rectangular rock wool panel that is either fastened to the ceiling or hung using hooks so that there's an air gap between the ceiling and the panel. It makes it very effective for absorbing sound and removing room echo.
What if I wanted to get like really dreamy with it and just like adhere a bunch of cotton batting to the ceiling with lights? Have you seen those on social media?
I've seen those. Yeah.
Then it looks like they look like storm clouds, and they have like, I don't know. That's just what popped into my head when you said that.
I've seen those. They're really pretty, but they're not going to absorb sound because it's just cotton batting. But they
Plus
do
the
have
LEDs.
and the LEDs, yeah. But you know what? If you have rock wool panels in the shape of clouds, and there are people who actually make those, then you can absolutely have those.
Interesting.
Yeah, and you can even have them backlit with LED strips, so it shines a light on the ceiling.
Fancy.
So it's all nice and fancy.
I see a third iteration to my studio coming. Thank you for my pocketbook does not. Thank you, Caesar, but
I'm sure it doesn't.
And I'm sorry to cut you off earlier. Did you have something else to add about room treatment before we move on to?
That's about it, really. Room treatment is one. The second is what follows after room treatment. The second most important thing is obviously noise control. And one of the reasons why I'm such an expert in things like room treatment and noise control is because I happen to have a fairly noisy environment. It's less to do with road noise, but more to do with my neighbors having farm animals, roosters in particular. And a rooster can be as loud as 140 decibels.
Yeesh.
So noise control is something that I had to put really serious thought in. Let's see. If budget is not if budget doesn't matter, right? you would find a way to decouple your room from the rest of the house. You can using one of those elevated floors that have some kind of shock absorber in between. I can't recall what the exact names are, but I think
Yeah.
you've seen those
Yeah.
before. And that way, even if you have kids running around the house, it's not going to transmit or vibrate underneath, and transfer up to your microphone if you have a mic stand, or through your desk, and then from your desk to your boom arm. So,
We do have a question on Instagram really quick. Z
sure.
Ferguson says, I'm using a closet with aluminum accordion doors. Accordion doors, probably. Do you think a moving blanket in a curtain rod would be enough to block reverb?
Yes. Yeah, that's very reflective. That is a very hard, very flat surface. So, if you have the room for it, you can pleat the moving blanket. That way it can absorb more frequencies.
So you could probably
But
pleat it along with the accordion door itself, right?
you could. Although I imagine the accordion door is closed when he's actually recording.
That's
So,
true. So you could give it a little extra pleat.
yeah.
So when it's closed, it's still not flat, I guess.
Yeah. And metal and reflective.
Well,
So,
it'll
yeah.
technically still be all those things, but there'll be a barrier.
Hmm. Absolutely.
Okay, let's see. Well, let's do this. We do have it looks like a handful of questions in the chat, but is there anything that you wanted to add? We'll just touch on the microphone and interface.
Yeah,
Um,
very quickly.
yeah, before we move on to the specific questions. But you talked the last time you were here, you told us about your opinion on the best beginner microphone, and that was the Rode NT1.
That's
Um,
correct.
so for an interface that's budget friendly, and a lot of people also recommend this one. Do you think the Focusrite 2i2 is the best bet for like a beginning stage of an interface, or do you think there's one that's better to pair with the Rode NT1?
Well, let me put it this way. If you're working on a budget, start with a Focusrite Scarlett Solo. So you only have one channel, and that's really all you need. If you can afford a Focusrite Scarlett 2i2, then I would wholly recommend an SSL2 Mark II instead, because they're about the same price, or maybe slightly more expensive, within the same price range anyway. So, and the reason why I recommend that is because it better dynamic range, more headroom, and also it has that 75 hertz high pass, so that you can clean up your sound, remove things like road noise, anything that lives below 75 hertz, like the rumble of an HVAC, for example. That all gets taken out before you even start recording.
Does the SSL interface, is that also 2-channel?
Mm-hmm. Like the 2i2.
Okay, so for those that are unfamiliar with interfaces, the 2i2, the Focusrite Scarlett 2i2, and then the SSL, they have 2 channels, meaning you could run 2 different microphones or a microphone and an instrument. It's just basically 2 inputs. And technically, you don't really need 2 if you're just starting out, but some voice actors, audiobook narrators like to have 2 different microphones that they use for different purposes.
That's right.
Like, for instance, if I wanted to use my MKH 416 for just audiobooks and then use something like my Lewitt 440 Pure for voiceover, I could do that. I could alternate between the 2 microphones with the one interface. But you don't really need that when
No,
you're just
it
starting
doesn't.
out, right? Just go with the solo, like a 1-channel interface, and you'll be just fine. But apparently for the SSL, there are other benefits as well.
There are. You can get really loud without, you can get very close to clipping without distortion, because it has that's better electronics.
So you could get in the shouting and the screaming for as we talk about all the time for like character work,
For
animations.
character work, animation. Oh, you
Yeah.
know what? Joy West would probably be very interested in that interface because she loves doing like
Yeah, she
character
does.
work. Yeah. So
Yeah.
she needs that freedom to be very expressive, you know?
Because she is.
Yes.
Because she is. All
Absolutely.
right. So let's get into the chat then. Let's see. Paul is here. Good day, Angela Caesar et al. Nothing I'm particularly stuck on, but I'm looking forward to this one nonetheless. Of course, because Caesar, Rustic Hillbilly's here. Good morning. Thanks for joining. Chastity is here from Launchpad. Hey, Chastity. Good morning, afternoon. Tanya said, evening all. I said room treatment, but I think I might need a new interface to cope with dynamics. Hope the weather is good where you all are. I could tell you in
Well,
Phoenix, it's 57 degrees. I'm cold because my blood's too thin now. But what's the temperature like where you're at, Caesar?
right now it's 65 degrees. It's actually nice and I imagine some people find this cozy, but this is cold for me. I would need like long pants and a sweater to really be comfortable.
And it's also like 1 o'clock in the morning or something for you, isn't it? In the
It's
Philippines?
125. Yeah.
Yeesh. So, yeah, it's probably not bright and sunny.
Not quite.
So, do you have any advice for Tanya? I'm sure you're familiar with her needs.
I know that she has a Scarlett bundle, so that means it comes with the headphones, the microphone, and the the interface. It's a great start for any beginner voiceover. But I think Tanya is ready to graduate from beginner to whatever comes after that, expert, I guess. She has
Intermediate?
a wonderful. Can we call Tanya intermediate?
I don't think so, but you were asking for the in
What's
between
next,
for
right?
intermediate. I'm not saying that. I don't agree that Tanya should put herself in that bucket either.
No. In fact, I think it's time for her equipment to match her expertise. I know that she's great with
Agreed.
accents. She's also great at acting. She's a wonderful narrator. So I would say if dynamics is an issue, uh, maybe, I don't know, should we? No, start with a microphone first, right? Move up to something that isn't the bog standard Scarlett microphone that came with the interface. And if dynamic range is truly an issue, if you hear early distortion when you become more expressive, for example, then an SSL2 Mark II is a good bet. And headphones, I guess, like yours. Ours, actually, the Biodynamic DT700 Pro Access.
Retro Life for You on Instagram says, "Is that spicy, Caesar?" Yes, this is the one,
Absolutely.
the only spicy Caesar.
My reputation precedes me, apparently.
This is him.
Yes.
I don't know if you guys can see that weird little logo that doesn't quite translate on StreamYard next to Caesar's name, but
Yeah, I don't know what that is.
he is a channel member. He is a bringer of donuts, and feel free, please, to join my channel memberships. I do have 2 different levels. You can bring donuts and get members first access to everything that I post, or you can have access to all the courses that I have and members only live streams. So check it out below. Thank you very much. I do have a handful of donut bringers in the chat. Let's see. Sage says, "Good afternoon, Angela and everyone. I picked other since there isn't an all of the above a choice." I gotcha. Okay. Just got a new mic upgrade and should be getting my interface upgraded next week. Exciting.
Very nice.
Paul says, "Howdy, howdy, howdy. Frozen Arkansas." Yeah, how's everybody faring? Is it just most of the U.S. covered in snow at the moment? Speaking of donut bringers, voiced by Rebecca. What's up, Bex? Hello, everyone. Hope you're staying warm. After about a year, I think I might be done messing with my space. I don't know if you're ever quite really done. Although I still wanted to add some clouds to the ceiling and extra soundproofing to the door. Okay, I'm done. You're not done. Okay, I'm not done. No.
She mentioned soundproofing, and I know that she does use weather stripping. That was one of the suggestions I gave before. And also, she shoves the duvet or a towel underneath the door so it prevents sound from transmitting. So that's something people can do. Really, just tighten up the contact between the frame and the door. Cover up the bottom. Install a door sweep if you like, and if you have windows, do the same. Cover them with a weather strip them if they're not dual pane, and you can also actually just uh, using Velcro place a moving blanket. Just cut it up, sew it up, and then just make a panel that goes over your window, and then Bob's your uncle. I've done this.
Bob's not my uncle. I don't have an Uncle Bob. Do you have an Uncle Bob?
No, I don't.
Musical Craft says, hello, everyone. Hello. Amy Ruthia says, yay, Angela and Caesar.
Hello.
Hello. Black Bob Matters says, hi, all. Chastity, I need to put my glasses on. Hey, Jason
Chastity.
Kirkover. Oh, my God. Glad you're doing better, Caesar. Yes, we're all
indeed.
so glad that you're feeling better. Amy Ruthie says, just curious about the interface. I have a Scarlett Solo. I was watching a video from Bill DeWeese yesterday, and he was trying to show sibilance in the spectrum view in Adobe Audition, and to capture it, continued, he turned some setting off on his interface. What might that have been?
What was his interface?
Scarlett Solo?
Well, hers is a Scarlett Solo. I was wondering what Bill DeWeese has. If Bill DeWeese has an Apollo, then he probably turned off the unison preamps, and he turned off his because then the Apollo allows you to put effects in the interface.
Yeah, okay, live.
I'll just I'll use layman's terms for this. And sometimes you can actually put a de-esser in your Apollo, so it acts live while you're recording. Yeah. So that might have been the thing he turned off if he has that.
Okay.
Yep.
That makes sense. Joy says, good morning, Angela and Caesar. I'm so glad you're feeling better. I know that's not the way you wanted to start 2026, but keep on keeping on. You get better. I have lots of clothes in my closet.
Yeah, it is good.
Girl, there you go. Use them.
Mm-hmm.
Innovox Media says, I have an audiometry
booth.
Audiometry booth. I've never heard of that. Which is basically an insulated metal box to do auditory exam. Oh, yes. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I know what you're talking about. I have seen those too. And I've seen them on Craigslist for sale. And I thought about getting one and then treating it for a space. But those things have got to be heavy.
That's small.
Is it? How small is it? I guess they could vary in size too. The one I was looking at looked like it was pretty large.
Not really.
No. I've also seen saunas, people buying saunas and then treating them.
I have to look into that one. I'm claustrophobic, so I never went into... I have considered booths before, and I didn't like the idea, so I just treated the entire room. It cost more, but at least I can walk around.
Yeah, you can... your sanity. You can breathe a little bit.
Yep.
Review Exchange Group says, what's slowing me down is figuring out how I can have a voice like Caesar's. Are you kidding me? And he's ill today? I give up.
Well, thank you very much.
Raven says, hey, Raven, love this topic. Always looking for improvements. Goal for the end of the year is to get out of my closet, but I would welcome any direction to booth plans that I could follow. I say, here, you don't have to get out of your closet unless you need it for something else. Use what you got. Unless you have another space in your home or something that you think that you could convert and make it work better for you.
Mm-hmm.
But use what you got. If you got space for it, get yourself a booth. You can buy them used.
Yeah.
On Craigslist.
If she's interested in treating the entire room, I would. I know people who have $2,000 to spend on GIK acoustic panels, but if you don't, find a local handyman or carpenter. All right. Mm-hmm. And they'll be willing to make those panels for you a lot cheaper than what GIK Acoustics would charge you for. And all you have to do is to make the wooden frames, stuff them full of rock wool, and then cover them in cloth. And then that's it. You've got yourself a panel. And I had a lot of space to treat. So if you just know somebody local, ask them if they can create the frames for you and just stuff them with rock wool and cover them in cloth, and then you're good to go.
And then there's Uncle Bob again. Do you have, is that what is behind you on your walls, Caesar?
Yeah, these are handmade, all of them. I didn't
You
go
made
to a
them?
fancy, yeah, I did. I went to somebody who had the equipment. And okay, I didn't actually make them because the first time I tried to use one of those table saws, the guy panicked so hard because my hand was so close to the blade, and said, yeah, I'll do them for you, okay? So
You're done. Get out of here.
I helped. I stapled the.
You supervised.
I supervised.
I mean, that's a job. Supervision needs someone skilled to do that too.
Absolutely.
Alicia says, good topic today. All I have is my closet right now. And there's nothing wrong with the closet.
Nothing wrong with that. Okay. Again, what I mentioned before is that if you are working with limited resources, a lot of the other stuff can be done using EQ. Now, you have to learn. You can either learn it or you can ask a sound engineer to help you out, because they'll be able to figure out what frequencies are not being absorbed by your closet or your clothes or your moving blankets or your foam panels.
Melissa Harlow. Hey, Melissa. She said, I can't hear the roosters in the neighborhood, but planes is the only sound that I have to stop for, even in a directed session. Yeah, same. I live in a townhouse, and I live in a gated community, and I have the unit that is about 15 feet from a playground, and I bought this unit, of course, because my son was young at the time, and I thought he would use the playground, which I think he did maybe all of 3 times in the last 10 years we've been here. But same, so I have to stop for when the kids are out there playing planes all the time. You know, I've got a small airport not far, so I do have the occasional planes, and it just is what it is. I mean, you know, and I think voice actors, brand new voice actors, audiobook narrators, tend to think that you have to record the first take all the way through, and like you can't mess up at all, or you can't pause, or you can't take a sip of water. You can edit all of that stuff out in post, right? You don't have to, when you hit the record button, it doesn't all have to be one take perfect.
Nope.
Right?
It never is.
Right. So you've got like a motorcycle, or you've got like Indy cars or something going past your house right now at 1 o'clock
I
in the
heard
morning.
that too. Yeah, it's a drag race. We have a long highway. I'm surprised you actually heard that, but yeah.
Oh yeah, I heard that.
There are certain things that, no matter how much, well, unless you're willing to spend thousands of dollars, you can't sound treat or apply enough noise control to stop an airplane.
Yeah.
Or a drag racer, as you heard.
Mm-hmm.
You pause and then continue.
Yep, exactly. Kat said, brought the donuts. Thank you, Kat.
Nice.
Sean says, I'm late to the party, so creme
brulee. Oh, my God.
Creme brulee. Oh. I need to start eating breakfast before these. I'm starving. Rebecca said, I put weather stripping around my closet door, and it helped out a lot.
There you go. See? And she's got cats. You can't hear the cats from behind the door.
Huh. I might have to do that with my door. Singing catfish again. I love that. Question. Want to make sure I understand mic placement. My mic, due to its design in space and budget constraints, can only be positioned straight up and down. Would off-axis, continued, be something like creating a 45-degree angle between the direction I'm facing and the mic?
I wanted to make sure I had this. Okay. So he said, well, I'm not sure if it's a
The
guy,
catfish.
no, but it's catfish. So we'll say they. So straight up and down is kind of like this, right? And 45 degrees would mean that it's pointed at the corner of your mouth. I'm doing this for Instagram, so that's good. What you can do is like tilt it 15 degrees, like that. So that way it's not pointing down and, like catching reflections of your desk. It's 15 degrees angled.
Good stuff.
Yep.
Thank you, Caesar.
No problemo.
Innovox Media said, let's see.
That's the audiometry booth. Is that?
Yes.
Oh,
Rockwool panels inside and acoustic curtains. Should I also
okay.
treat the ceiling portion? It has carpet inside too.
Carpet's good. Ceiling, yes. Treat the ceiling. If you can hang a Rockwool panel up there, that's perfect. That's going to prevent the flutter echo thing that I mentioned. By the way, when he said acoustic curtains, I imagine they're from Vocal Booth to Go. They're called acoustic curtains or sound curtains. They're like moving blankets, but better. They have 4 times the density, and they're more effective at acoustic treatment and can also block sound from behind the curtain, which is awesome.
Awesome.
Yep.
Okay. Alicia says, good morning. Hello, Alicia. Williams says, for high-end vocal use, Eureka, Presonus, and the best compress with EQ.
For high-end vocal use, I have no idea what Eureka is. I know Presonus makes audio equipment, but they make mixers, live racks, and audio interfaces and microphones, but not compressors, unless you're talking about the Presonus channel strip. So I don't know what they're talking about.
Not sure either. Maybe it's a plug-in or something.
Maybe.
Musical Crafts with Miss Julia says, what is the purpose of the headphones and best choice for beginners? I have signed up with ACX and I'm excited to start with audiobooks. I am also interested in ebooks and singing animation.
Okay. Want me to answer?
Go for it.
All right. So the importance of headphones is actually twofold. One is for tracking or monitoring. When you're recording, some people like to listen to their own voice so that they make sure that the takes are good. And the headphones hear things that you normally wouldn't hear, like stomach gurgles or, that little nasal pop that happens now and then.
The nose fart.
Exact nose farts. And so that when you hear that, then you go back and then do a retake. That's the first purpose of headphones. The second purpose is when you're doing your processing. If you're doing it yourself, you use your headphones to make decisions about de-essing and compression, or even EQ to find those weird frequencies that sound off, and then notching them down in EQ. So it's for editing,
and also for live streaming.
And live streaming.
Trying to hear someone. So headphones are essential.
Yeah, they are.
So for someone that's budget conscious and just starting out, what would be, in your opinion, what do you think a decent set of headphones should be? Okay,
the one popular choice, albeit not exactly the most comfortable, is the Sony MDR 7506. They're fairly, neutral, accurate. They're great for both, and they seal very well around your ears, so they don't bleed into the microphone all that much. The other one would be the Audio-Technica AT-HM40X. That's a good one. I don't recommend the 20X because that's a little too thin and the mid-range is a little too harsh. And I don't recommend the AT-HM50X because it has a slightly exaggerated low-end response. So it's kind of like, so the 40X is the most balanced. If you have the budget, Beyerdynamic DT770 Pros. Well, those are the DT 700 Pro X's. They're actually fancier.
But
And
this is what they look like.
they kind of
Sort
look
of.
like that. Yeah.
Sort of.
Except the ear cup's a little fuzzier. So 770 Pro X. Those are awesome. And
when you
they
say
built like a tank.
And when you say bleed into the microphone, I personally don't like to wear headphones when I'm recording because that just makes me feel like caged in, claustrophobic. I don't like it.
Mhm.
But some people like to have them on. But when you say bleed into the microphone, meaning if you're close to the microphone and you have sound coming out
Yeah,
of
coming
your
out of,
headphones,
yeah,
your microphone can pick that up as well, and it'll
that's correct.
dirty up your audio. Basically, you'll be able to hear both you and the recording of you
And the
or the playback.
recording.
Yeah,
Yeah.
in the final product, which you don't want.
Yep. And it can cause problems.
Mhm.
So essentially just all you have to do is to monitor at a reasonable level. Don't crank up the monitoring volume and then it's going to bounce back into the microphone. You just record quiet. Just loud enough so that you can hear yourself, pretty much.
Just enough.
Yeah.
Dylan says, hey guys, hey Dylan. My booth journey started in a hobo fort with moving blankets. Then I built an actual studio with acoustic installation. 5.4-inch homemade acoustic panels filled with rock wool and acoustic panel cloud hanging from the ceiling, and everywhere else is covered in foam. It's beautiful, and I would never go back.
I remember the first time I designed the effect track for Dylan Holt, and I know that I had to fix a lot of problems using EQ when he was using his hobo fort. And practically all those, except for maybe 2 rogue frequencies, completely disappeared with his use of Rockwool panels. And like I mentioned before, when you have a male lower vocal register, sound treatment does become more important.
And just to touch on what a hobo fort is, if you watch like Anthony Pica there's a handful of voice actors that started out in what we call a hobo fort, but essentially it's a PVC armature draped in moving blankets, duvets, whatever you got, right? And you can easily put one of those, purchase all the pieces and put it all together from your local hardware store. Yeah. I think we addressed this question already at the beginning, the Rockwool panels and the sheetrock. William says, I think that's just a reiteration of what he said earlier. It's Dylan talking to Kat. Do we have, here's a question. Kat says, if I do gobos, put them inside the cloth booth or outside the cloth booth. What's a gobo? Do you know?
Gobo is a go-between. It's a Rockwool panel on wheels.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
So you can move them around.
Talked about earlier. Okay.
That's right. Say inside, not outside. Yeah.
Paul says it might be worth pointing out that Rockwool, rather like fiberglass, will over time shed microscopic particles that can be inhaled, which is extremely bad for you. It is essential to cover. Where's the remaining? Oh, here it is. Rockwool with fabric dense enough to prevent the fibers from creeping through.
Mm-hmm. Excuse me. He makes a good point. And yeah, that means the fiber, the cloth that you cover the Rockwool panel with it has to be of a high thread count. Okay, it's not going to be like a thin, I don't know, like the cheapest thing you can buy at Home Depot or whatever.
Really quick question on Instagram. Mag Hatter says, I have so much foam from the Joanna closeout. Is this comparable to Rockwool? About to sound treat my office.
No, it's not. They absolutely don't have the same density, foam and Rockwool. But that doesn't mean that they're not usable. You can go ahead and use them. Just, again, be aware that anything below 500 hertz will not be absorbed. So you're going to need to use EQ for that.
A Rockwool LED cloud. I really like the sound of that, too. I think there's going to be some construction in my studio soon. Josh says, hey, Josh. Hello, everyone. So glad that I'm able to catch some of the live. We're glad you're here. Joy says, besides from lots of clothes in my closet is carpeted. I'll get the tile treatments for the door and the ceiling now. I have a king-size comforter at the opening of the door. Would that be, as that as a curtain, I guess, be okay?
The comforter? Yes, absolutely.
Ken P says, dang, glad again for replay. Trying to listen live. Caesar is always full of great ideas. He is.
Thank you.
We like Caesar.
I think this is a great time to segue about the fact that we have a lot of Launchpad members here. So
We do.
For those who don't know what Launchpad is, Angela, maybe you could tell everyone what it is.
It is. Launchpad is a place where everybody at any experience level, if you're just even thinking about getting into voiceover, or if you've been doing this for a couple years, or maybe you're just stuck in the research phase, Launchpad is for everybody and anybody looking to get into voiceover audiobook narration, where you can come and meet your peers, get support from your peers, learn from your peers. We meet every Thursday night and for a couple of hours. And we have a lot of fun going through scripts, emotions, genres. Caesar does some great presentations about, dual or duet narration. We have a lot of members that give presentations on different things, organization, and all. I mean, it's a very interactive group, and we gamify all of our lessons, and like we have the wheel of emotions, and this week we'll be doing the wheel of genres, and it'll be a lot of fun. So if you're looking for a budget-friendly place or a group to work on your skills, learn new things, get feedback from your peers, there's a link in the description below. If you're watching on YouTube, come join us. Like Caesar said, Caesar is also there too. So you have a wealth of knowledge, of course, from Caesar and everybody else experienced in the group. And I'm just going off on a tangent. See, don't open that door, Caesar, because I will just go off on that tangent. But definitely join us. We'd love to have you. And I hear that question all the time. Do you have to have a studio to come and join? Do you have to be like at a certain level? I'm a singer. Can I join? Yes.
The answer to all those questions is yes.
Yes. If you're interested in voiceover audiobook narration at all, come join us. We will definitely help and support you. We've been doing it for years.
Yep.
Let's see. Now I lost my place in the chat.
I think it's Edwin0034.
Oh, thank you. There we go.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm using Auralex 2-inch foam, which was expensive with moving blankets and 2 panels. I hope that is enough for my deep voice and my closet setup. Do you think that is enough?
Okay. First, the reason why it's expensive is because the brand is Auralex. All right.
Yeah.
Like GIK Acoustics, the brand is what makes it expensive. 2-inch foam is actually not going to be enough. And 2 panels, absolutely not going to be enough. But if that's all you have, then the rest will have to be taken care of in adult using EQ. Over time, I think what you're going to need is, well, one, more foam, and it doesn't have to be Auralex. If you can afford Rockwool, obviously that would be better because you have a deep voice and you need absorption below 500 hertz. You're going to need things like bass traps and all that. But if you're working with what you have, then yeah, learn how to use a parametric equalizer to take care of that.
Jason Kirkover says, how do you feel about isolation booths like a Whisper Room?
They're great. And if you can have them customized, I know that some configurations have like more bells and whistles, like bass traps, for example. You can absolutely get them. But in my experience, those things are expensive. If you recall, we had a Launchpad member who bought a secondhand booth, and it was like $5,000. And in order to have a brand new one shipped to her location in Florida was $12,000.
Mm-hmm.
So, and if you're going to use that as an excuse to not start your voiceover business, then no, find a room in your house that's quiet enough, and then just stuff it full of soft things and get started. Don't
Mm-hmm.
wait on that. Don't wait on that $12,000 booth. Get started right away. You have enough stuff in your house to record, and to record very usable output.
While we're sort of on the topic, those ISO shields, we touched on them at the very
Oh yeah,
beginning.
I got one behind me, but it's
What do
kind of
you,
off screen.
how do you feel about those? And what we say when ISO shield, it's just basically a shield that's got foam on one side that kind of surrounds your microphone.
Yeah,
Do you
it's
find
like a
those to
half
be,
circle.
yes, do you find those to be effective?
No, but psychologically, it gave me some kind of, I don't know, like it made me feel like I had some kind of protection from the rest of my the rest of my room, which was not very well treated at the time.
Yeah.
So it was more of a mental thing, really. But if I were to be completely honest about it, no, it didn't. It didn't do anything.
I think they're a great idea in theory. And like you said,
Mhm.
maybe give you a little bit of confidence, but ultimately I would not spend money on one. I would much
No,
rather you maybe invested in rock wool or moving blankets or something else that's going to help you if you need it.
that's right.
Um, Williams says, what final hardware should I use for final mastering industrial standard sound in low budget?
What final hardware should I use for final mastering industrial standard sound in low budget? Don't
Not
use
sure.
hardware. That's the answer. Do all of your processing in the box. That means in the DAW. So compressing, de-essing, EQ. If you want to use a what do you call that? A bus compressor before limiting and before hitting ACX spec, then just do it all using software. Waves has a lot of stuff that's super, super cheap, and they're always, always on sale. Uh, Valentine's is coming up. I'm pretty sure that they're gonna have something like a buy two take
Sure,
two
yeah.
plug-in sale. So
Yeah.
just do that. Hardware is expensive. The cheapest hardware you can get, like a cheap bus comp, is like $800. So no hardware. Forget the
Uh,
hardware.
you could also, I mean, if you wanted to get the Isotope RX11 suite of
Yes,
plugins
absolutely.
too, that would be another avenue. And you don't
Yeah,
have to go hard with the big bundle. Just get the middle one, the standard.
it's just standard. You already have a de-esser, you have a denoiser, a
Mouth
broadband denoiser,
declick.
a mouth declick.
Yep.
That's all you need. If you want to spend a little more and get the mastering tools from Isotope like Nectar or whatever, then go ahead and do that. They have a $20 a month subscription that gives you access to all of that, and you can just go hog wild with all that for
Hmm.
$20 a month. But no, just forget the hardware, unless there are so many headaches with hardware. I own
Yeah.
hardware, all right.
Don't get him started.
Yeah.
Rebecca, thank you for the super chat. Coffee saves lives. Yes, it do.
Mm-hmm.
In my house, anyway. Angela and Caesar, thank you for all your time, advice, and patience. Launchpad VOJ makes great voice actors and audiobook
Absolutely.
narrators. Thank you
Absolutely.
for the super chat, Rebecca. Rebecca was on last week as my guest. Thank you so. Oh, Dylan. Dylan had to. Thank you, Dylan. What Rebecca said, but cheaper. I'm saving up for professional character demo after all. Oh, thank you so much, Dylan. I appreciate you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Let's see. Oh my gosh, we have so many comments. Okay, let's see if we can get through these. um, oh my gosh. Sean Tyler says, if your mix and interface both have high pass filters, would it be better to use both in a noisy environment?
By mix, do you mean mixer?
Maybe use.
Oh,
I'm
or
assuming like in your DAW and then your interface, they both have a high pass, like a parametric equalizer, and
yeah,
I'm assuming that's what he means.
yeah. It's called belt and suspenders. Okay, so what happens is that you have, if your interface has an 80 or 75 hertz high pass filter, switch that on, and then in the DAW, so after your voice is converted from an analog to digital signal, you can have a more gentle high pass filter, maybe at 50 hertz with a less steep slope, and that's belt-in suspenders.
I
It's
like
good
that.
safety. Yeah.
Paul wanted to add the other big difference between the Scarlett Solo and the 2i2 is the 2i2 has separate main and headphone level controls, which was essential for me. Might be worth knowing.
Yeah.
Thank you for adding that, Paul.
Yeah, for people who like to use studio monitors instead of headphones, because it's easier to make compression and de-essing decisions with actual physical speakers in your studio. The 2i2 has separate main and headphone level controls, so you can control your headphones and you can control your speakers separately, your monitors separately.
Sage wants to know, will the SL2 MK2 interface help me with the air conditioning noises? I live in Arizona, and the air conditioner is on 98% of the year. I have to record while it's off and edit while it's on. So that might mean recording late at night when the air conditioner isn't running it's still 90 something degrees at night here in Arizona.
Yeah.
You just gotta roll with it. But I would highly advise to not record with the air conditioner, your HVAC. You're trying to eliminate those noise in post. That noise in post,
Yeah,
is gonna make you sound so horrible. Just turn it off and
I
suffer
agree.
through. Wear the bikini, put the cold pack on, and just get through it.
Well, my advice is if the air conditioning is not vented into the room, let's say it's in another room, for example, and it creates a rumble that, transmits into your room, something that's below 50 hertz, then yes, it will help. But if the air conditioning is in your room, or if it's, if it's venting into your room, it's going to cause broadband noise across all frequencies. So yeah, switch it off before recording, and then just use the 75 hertz high pass to take care of things like passing cars or anything that's below 50 hertz.
Mary Lynn says, another donut bringer. Thank you, Mary Lynn. Howdy, all. Thank you, Angela and Caesar. As always, great information. Hubby and I are building my booth this week. How fun. Shopping now for the ceiling panel.
Nice.
That's awesome.
Nice. That is awesome.
Let's see. Tanya says, thanks, Caesar. Dare I ask for mic recommendations for me?
Well, we're going to have to talk about budget and all that. If I were to choose a microphone that's below $500, that would match your voice. I know I say 500 like it's no big deal, right? But you can go with the Lawton Audio LA220, or you can go for the SE Electronics SE4100, or you can go with the Roswell Mini K87. We'll talk more later.
Dylan, we don't want to know what you're wearing or not wearing in your booth. It's your prerogative, bro. It's your booth. If you want to have a naked dance party, go do it. I don't care. Yeah. That's fine. Zazabuki says, I tried to sneak in quietly. No, don't bother. Was shoveling snow. I chose treatment because I live in a trailer and I'm having trouble getting below negative 45 dB. Donut holes and coffee on the table. Oh, thank you, my friend.
Nice. All right, so that's a very unique problem. You're in a trailer, and that means, it's not exactly the most insulated environment. Previously, who was that? It was Anne Fritz, right? Who lived in kind of like a mobile home situation.
I've worked with a handful of people actually that were RV living, just
RV
traveling
living
around, and recording in their RVs.
Yeah. In your case, treatment is great for covering up, for mitigating reverb and stuff, but I think you're talking about noise control. In such a case, there's not really much you can do in an RV to denoise it. I would recommend getting a microphone that is more directional, just like this one. So it picks up less of the room and more of just your voice. I think that's probably the best solution. You can get your noise floor down to about minus 65 dB if my calculation is correct.
We've been on for more than an hour. I'm so
Oh,
sorry,
wow.
Caesar. I totally got away from you. It went by so fast.
Gosh.
Let's see
All
if
right,
we
we'll
can
just
find you some. Oh,
more
everybody in the
questions.
chat is saying Bill DeWeese was using an Apollo twin when we were
Okay,
talking
so
about that earlier.
he had something to turn off to show siblings. Okay, let me see.
Let's see. I'm looking for questions. Rebecca says Melissa stopped the rooster sounds. Cue Caesar's jealousy. Oh, that came up as a question. Dylan says, I recommend building your own acoustic panels too. GIK
Yes.
wanted over $250 each for the size I made. I built mine for $50 each. If they don't find you handsome, they should at least find you handy.
Well, he's got that advantage over every one of us. So yeah. But proves my point.
We were correct in calling catfish they. Okay, perfect.
Okay,
Good. Oh, it's Haley B from Launchpad. Okay. Hi. Chastity
Hello.
says, thank you, Angela and Caesar, for all this amazing information. Chastity also says, I enjoy being part of the group. Yes, she is a Launchpadder.
Mm-hmm.
Yay, Launchpad. Sage says, Angela's great and has created an amazing community. Join us in Launchpad. It'll be the best thing you do for your VO business. Also, click the like button. Yes, please. Gently click, fondle, touch, smash, adjective, the like button,
I recommend
please.
smash.
Smash. Mm-hmm. What time Thursday Eastern time do you start your Launchpad? We start at 8 p.m. Every Thursday, and it goes for about 2 hours. And you're not required, it's not mandatory that you attend. I mean, it's, of course, recommended that you attend and or participate. You can't attend and, I mean, you can't participate without attending. You know what I mean. But if you miss one, they're all recorded, so you can always go back and watch it. You can hop in, hop out. It's totally informal. A lot of us bring an adult beverage, so it's fun. It's not like sterile classroom environment. You know, everybody, we're just a big, huge family. There's about 40, there's like 45 of us now that join every Thursday. So it's amazing. And all the different perspectives and love and support. Look at all the hearts going off on YouTube. You guys, seriously, it's less than $40 a month. Yeah. I mean, you can't get anything that good. I mean, even access to Discords, sometimes you can't even get for that. So, and you get access to a Discord with that too. So,
yep.
Come on, people, join us. The link is in the description. Easy peasy. Angel VO Pro says VO Angela and Launchpad is the best VO community ever. Yep. That's fantastic. Thank you. Okay. I'm sorry, just really quick, just trying to get through because I know it's like 2:00 in the morning, Caesar's time. I'm trying to get him to bed. Caesar and Nike both say just do it. Let's see.
How about Joy's RX11 Elements?
Oh, here it is. Yep. Oh, come on, button. Isotope RX Elements. Okay. Oh my gosh, there are so many elements you could start out with, but you could always upgrade to standard, which I recommend because standard is the package that you can get mouth declick in.
Declick, which is really the big game changer. And look, I absolutely advocate for people to have access to standard as soon as possible. So if you don't mind paying $20 a month, they have a subscription that will give you Isotope RX11 standard, as well as a bunch of other audio production plugins. But really, the most important for VOs really is that voice denoise or spectral denoise, and DS, and of course mouth declick, the big number one.
We have a emergency question on Instagram because apparently Mag Hatter is literally at Home Depot right now grabbing rock wool. I hear a high thread count cover, but maybe a thin insulation, 1/4 inch. Sorry, seems like a crazy question, but just for paint purposes?
Hold on a second. What was that about insulation?
Grabbing rock wool. I have maybe a high thread count cover, but maybe a thin insulation. I'm sorry, thin drywall, 1/4 inch. Sorry, seems like a crazy question, but just for paint purposes.
Okay. Shoot. Okay. You'll either need some kind of like a hardware anchor or something, because rock wool panels are heavy, and if you have thin like walls, that's gonna be tough. You may have to do the gobo style. Prop them up on a stand instead of going through the drywall. Yeah.
Ken says drywall cover would just defeat the sound absorption. This drywall is normally 5/8.
5/8 inch. Interesting. So put them on a stand, I guess.
I don't know. I think it's one of those things. Oh, on top of the rock wool. I'm not sure. I think it's one of those things that you have to visually see.
Yeah, or talk to somebody at Home Depot.
That's
right?
a good idea. Yeah, grab an associate and see if they can help you. Makes sense. Thanks, guys, on YouTube, and of course you too.
No problem.
Well, I'm glad to help. That is everything in our chat for today. That is all the questions that I saw. Anyway, is there anything else that you wanted to add, or before we part ways and you go to bed, Caesar?
Not really. I would say a lot of people overthink, just like I did. We overthink things like noise control and sound treatment and all that. Start with whatever you have, all right? And if you have problems that you need to work around, like planes going overhead, road noise, I don't know, the gardeners cutting grass or whatever, just work around it, all right? Don't wait for solutions. Don't wait for high-end solutions for everything. Just figure out times to record. Use whatever you have in the house. It could be clothes. It could be bookshelves. Bookshelves are great diffusers because they're an uneven space or unevenly spaced. And blankets, duvets, make a hobo fort. It really doesn't matter. You don't have to go rock wool all the way. Start your business. Connect with a sound engineer who can figure out the rest for you, or figure it out for yourself, whichever you're more comfortable with, and just do it.
And if anybody wanted to reach out to you, Caesar, if you're not in Launchpad, what's your website? How do they reach out to you, Caesar?
You can go to my website. It's voiceofcaesar, no spaces.com. Caesar is spelled like the emperor or the salad, Caesar.
Just like you see on the screen there under his name.
Yep.
Fantastic. I think we covered just about everything, but we are going to try to have Caesar on more often because you guys are demanding it. So Caesar, I'm sorry, but you're going to have to sacrifice some sleep for us.
I would be honored.
We appreciate you, Caesar.
Thank you.
So maybe once a month or so, maybe a couple months. I don't know. But you and I will talk. We'll sort it out. We'll figure it out. But we're going to try to have a regular, recurring, interview with Caesar to talk about booth setup and sound engineering, things like that. But I will continue to interview other people from our Launchpad so you guys can get to meet some other great narrators and hear their stories and things. So if you're in Launchpad, watch out because I'm coming for you. But that's all I've got for you guys this week. And Caesar, again, thank you so much for staying up late for us. We really appreciate it. And
It is a pleasure.
Sorry, I had to highlight that. Cat says Caesar Salad Day. Yes, it is.
It's not going to be a monthly thing. Caesar Salad Day.
Caesar Salad Day. I love it. As everybody get your nose Caesar sign, Caesar has been very well behaved today. As opposed to a Launchpad sessions. Anyway, don't get me off on a tangent. I'm leaving. Okay, we're going. So, Caesar, again, thank you. I'll see you on Thursday, and all the rest of you, I'll see you all next Tuesday. So thank you, everyone, for joining. Bye.
Absolutely. Take care. Bye.